Hey Troy, man. Good morning. Thanks
Good
for
morning.
thanks for taking 10 15 minutes to answer some interview type questions. I was thinking about this interview, and I'm pretty excited, in particular for this one, because you offer a really unique point of view, and that's the point of view of a very recent graduate from the program. I've been doing these interviews, and some alumni are 3 or 5 or even 10 years out, and so you are the first interview that I'm going to do from a very recent grad. So I think your perspective is going to be very relevant to our current students because of how new you are to the industry, right? So. If you don't mind, we'll just kind of start off. Would you mind introducing yourself?
All right. My name is Troy Bost. I graduated last spring, and I got a job at REJIS Commission, pretty much right out uh, of school. I was actually working there during school for a little bit, and I started March 8th, and so I've almost been going on a full year now.
So let's put some time. You said you graduated in spring of 21,
Yep.
spring of 2021, and your employer is Regis Commission, and you started there basically right out of school.
Yep.
And could you kind of tell us a little bit about your employer, like what they do, and just at a high level, what the company does?
So they make applications that local government, so really just the police, use just on a daily basis, just to help them with what they do.
So, the police in St. Louis City.
Yeah, St. Louis City, but we're not limited to St. Louis City. We stretch quite far, actually.
Okay. So you write software that is used by the police force.
Yep,
Well, that sounds like some pretty important software. That's cool. So
a
when
little
I drive by a police officer, I always think it's funny because legally I'm not allowed to be on my cell phone. But when you drive by a police officer, they got a giant laptop right in their field of vision.
bit.
And obviously that laptop's running some software. I'm kind of curious. Are you writing or involved with software that is in the police car, or more like at the station?
Uh, Probably in the police car, yeah.
So you're writing software that these police officers are using in the police car.
Yeah.
That should be illegal. No, I'm kidding. That's funny. That's cool. So Regis Commission, you've been employed for a year, and what is your job title?
I am an associate programmer.
Associate programmer. Cool. I'm just taking some notes here. And you mentioned before, you're clearly, based on what I see, you're in your apartment. You told me you got an apartment, and so you moved, I guess, from home to this apartment.
Yep. Yeah, I've been here for a month. I was working remote for what, about 6, 7 months. So it's been remote the whole time. I did have to go in a couple times, so I had to make that 2.5 hour drive here and back. But now that I live here, I think it's 20 minutes from here. So whenever I go in, it's 20 minutes. I do what I gotta do, and then I come back.
So it sounds like you're mostly remote still.
Yeah.
How often do you go in?
I only go in when I have to do something in person. Otherwise, they kind of just say it's okay to work from home just to keep contacts down for right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool. How do you like working from home?
It's okay. I kind of prefer to be in office. It's easier to focus, but I mean, it's not bad.
Good, good, awesome, awesome. So, what languages do you use on the job?
So right now, mostly just JavaScript. Occasionally, I dabble in the C sharp and a very tiny bit of Visual Basic.
Really, a little bit
Um,
of old school VB, huh?
yeah.
There you go. So JavaScript, is that full stack JavaScript?
No, it is not. It's just front end JavaScript.
And so, what do you use for the front end?
So front end is JavaScript, back end is C Sharp or Visual Basic.
Oh, okay. So is it like a Angular or React on the front end, or just what do you got there?
It's just vanilla
Vanilla
JavaScript.
JavaScript. Okay, right on. Very cool. Very cool. So JavaScript on the front end, C Sharp VB on the back end. So I imagine there's some SQL in there as well.
There's SQL, yes.
Yeah, nice, nice. Um, have you worked on any sort of fun or cool projects since you graduated?
Unfortunately, I have not. So I've been focusing pretty hard on learning the work environment. Um, and I haven't just had much time to actually get involved with my own stuff for quite some time. It's actually kind of sad, but it's a very different environment to work in, especially with some of the things that I have to learn. Like Visual Basic was a thing that I had to take like a week just to figure out what I was doing in Visual Basic.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
don't have much
not
time.
only because the way you answered that question was like side projects, right? But what about at work? Like, have you written any cool software at work or anything that you think is kind of like you said you wrote software that the police officers use in the car. I would say that would be pretty intriguing to write software that does that.
I think so far the coolest thing that I've worked on is like a license scanner. So if a police officer ever scans your license with the application they have, I'm the one who put that license scanner in the application. So
See,
there
that's
was
pretty
that.
cool. That is pretty cool. Was that a big learning curve there, or was that
uh, it was surprisingly easy. It's very interesting to work with.
we lost you?
Surprisingly,
Okay, go ahead.
um, it was surprisingly easy. I thought it was going to be more complicated to get those barcodes scanned because they're very interesting barcodes. But it worked out just fine.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. So, tell us about a day in your life. Like, walk us through. You get up in the morning, and as far as your work life, what do you do every day?
So I get up, check the emails as standard, see if any fires happened overnight. And if everything is good, I have a meeting every single day at 11 o'clock. And that's where we just go over what we did uh, for the day or the past day, or just in between meetings. And we I have a team of four, I think, two other programmers, and then my project manager, and then project owner.
Oh, so you've got a team of four. That's interesting. And you've got a daily
And
meeting
yep,
at 11 a.m. Is
that's,
that you call that your stand up?
yep, that's the stand up.
That's your stand up. Okay. So that gets you at 11 o'clock. And then how much of your day is spent actually writing code?
Probably about 5 hours.
5 hours?
Just depends. Sometimes I have to write documentation. Sometimes I have to just sit in meetings.
Yep.
Sometimes I have to send emails or phone calls. So it's about 5, 6 hours.
Nice, nice. Let me change a setting here real quick. Okay, cool. So 5 hours a day writing code, sometimes meetings, sometimes documentation. Tell us a little bit about the documentation. What's that all about? Why is that important?
So if you make something that not a lot of people in the company know how to use, it's very useful that you document how it's used and the way you put it together. So if any point you need to leave, they have something to refer to pick up what you started or maybe even finished. Just how to use it. And we also have to write documentation to send to the customers, so the police officers, telling them how to actually use the application. So, I mean, they're supposed to do in-person training, but it's also helpful just to give them like written instruction on how to do stuff.
The instruction manual.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you write documentation for other developers, and you also write documentation for end users on how to use it.
Yep.
And you hope they read the manual, but most probably are not going to read the manual.
Yeah.
Are you a
Yeah.
manual reader? Do you read line by line when you're putting something together? Some people are, some people aren't.
It depends. If I get stuck hard enough, then I'll read line by line, but I tend to skim.
Yeah, me too, me too. So First off, I'm super happy for you, man. You came to Rankin. Did you come right out of high school?
Right out of high
You
school.
came right out of high school. And so, how old are you now?
I'm 21.
You're 21, and you've been working for a year. So you were working full time at Regis, writing software for police officers at 20 years old.
Yep.
Man, I tell you what, someday you're going to look back on that and you're going to realize how incredible that is. That is so awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have a very bright future ahead of you. And I
I
hope
appreciate that.
I hope I hope you see that, and I cannot wait for you in 5 or 10 years to look back and see kind of, because that's just awesome. I'm very impressed. Um, what tips would you give to the brand new students? Because you've done it, you've graduated, you got a good job, you got your foot in the door, and you're successful. So what tips kind of worked for you to be successful not only with your time at Rankin, but also ultimately landing your first career?
Um, Specifically for time in Rankin, and I think this led up to getting a career as well, is I just did it being programming a lot. I just dabbled and played with it a lot. So outside of class time, I probably put anywhere between an extra 2 to 4 hours of programming on my own. And I just kept working with things until I got them to work. And it just really helps build a sense of understanding when you put something together yourself. And it kind of reinforces the things you learn in class when you take another step forward to just really try and figure something out for a pretty decent amount of time. So, but that's the thing I always found helped me the most. It's just I kept doing it for another 2 to 4 hours just to see if I really remembered what I learned, and it really helped me quite a bit.
So you put in a lot of extra hours.
Oh, I put in a disturbing amount of hours.
So you would summarize that by yes, by putting in work, by working hard. You put in some extra time. Maybe that wasn't 100% necessary, but it seems like it paid off.
Yeah, yeah,
Very cool.
yep.
Very cool. What helped you land the first job? You think it was just that extra hard work?
Uh, yeah, actually, I do. Because I also applied with other classmates, and I just happened to get picked over those other classmates. So, I mean, I would just like to assume that it was because I actually just worked really hard to get that position and worked hard with previous code examples and uh, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. How is your 5 minutes left? I need to change these settings. How is your? I'm getting a warning. I got 5 minutes. How is your? How's your career going so far? Like, are you still just kind of learning the ropes and getting your foot in the door, or have you been successful on the career so far, and like maybe seen a pay raise and that kind of thing?
Um, I would say I'm probably still learning the career by a lot. Um, my entry to this job was very particular. They had me working part-time up until October, well, technically November. So my first pay raise was in October.
Okay,
I went from $14 an hour to $26 an hour.
that's a nice pay raise.
Yeah,
It's a great pay
yeah.
raise.
And I was working 4 hours a day all the way up until November. Then they moved me up to 24 hours a day. And then in December, I started working the full 8 hours a day. So technically, I've only been full time since December, but I've been working every day, 5 days a week since March. So,
Okay. Well, congratulations on the pay increase there, and it sounds like they like you, and by evidence
yeah.
of your 50% pay raise there. So
Yeah.
congrats on that. How intellectually stimulated are you on a day-to-day basis?
It very much depends. Some days there'll just not be much to do. and you'll kind of just have to wait for something to happen. Other days you'll have something from as soon as you get in to when you leave the next day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely depends on just where you're at in the application, what bug happened yesterday, and so on and so forth. How many emails you got from an officer saying that a program doesn't work the way it's supposed to work.
I see. I see. I don't know if hopefully Teams doesn't boot us off here, but I'll kind of open the questions up to the class. I got a few more, but any questions here for Troy, kind of off the top of your head? Feel free to wing them out or raise your hand. Yes, sir.
When you were applying for jobs, or for this job specifically, did you have any of your own projects that you put on your application or on your resume that like helped you get in?
Did you hear that?
Or was it only Ranken's?
I did. So for this job, I did not have to show any proof of projects, but I did have to go through a couple of programming examples. So they gave me some problems that I had to complete in front of a person. So I didn't need a portfolio or anything. They actually had me test my skills like in front of them.
Good question. Yes.
Question based on that: are you allowed to use like reference pages or anything online when you're doing that, or is it all from what you know in your head?
I was allowed to use reference pages. I didn't use reference pages, but I was allowed to use them.
You're just that good.
Yeah.
You do the. Yeah.
Did you have any experience in like computers or coding or anything like that before?
What was your prior experience, Troy?
For programming,
Just in computers or programming at all prior to Ranken?
in high school, I took two programming classes. One was for C Sharp, and then the other one was for making games in C Sharp. So that kind of helped quite a bit.
Okay. So some high school classes.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. I can't wait to know you in 10 years, man. I cannot wait to see your career in 10 years. You just keep your nose down, work hard, and if we do this interview again in 10 years, you're going to have some pretty incredible stories along your path. I can't wait to hear about them.
I hope so.
Yeah. You got a bright future, my man. You got a very bright future. Hey, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to do this. I think it's very valuable to my current students and maybe potential students to see this kind of stuff. You're the man. Congratulations, and stay in touch. I will stay in touch with you.
Okay.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Bye.